Welcome back, RD4J fam.
Thank you guys for tuning in to today's episode. We're very excited for this topic. I think we're always excited for all the topics we talk about because each one, it's very interesting. Each one has its little story, its little background on how we come about it, and then just seeing how the Lord confirms it in different areas. So we just are very happy to continue recording and being here with you guys. But today, we're going to be talking about how to choose your friends. And the reason we want to share this is we just want to share a couple tips because I know some people, sometimes whether it's at work or those kids that are going back to school or just with life in general, it's a pretty big question that if you Google how to make friends, it's always like one of the top searches. But we want to talk to you guys about how to choose your friends, especially coming from a Christian point of view, how to pick godly friendships as well, because it's very important who you surround yourself with. So we're going to read a couple verses to see what the Bible says about friendships.
Yes. So we've got 3 specific ones that we want to emphasize on, starting with Proverbs 27:9, saying, "Oil and incense bring joy to the heart, and the sweetness of a friend is better than self-counsel." Then we also have the first of Thessalonians. 5:11. I'm sorry, that's a strong word. "Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing." And then just to lastly close it with 1 of Corintios 15:33, saying, "Bad company corrupts good character." I think those 3. I mean, there were so many to choose from. The Lord always speaks about friendships and how important they are in our journey to walk with the Lord and grow spiritually. But I think these 3 bring 3 different aspects. Like you have about self-counsel, but you also have about who do you surround with also impacts how you walk, and I think,
and the beauty of friendships as well.
Yes, encouraging and building. It's just a lot.
So one of the first little tidbits of advice we want to give you guys is when it comes to selecting your friends, make sure you use wisdom and discernment when selecting your friends. And that's why we pulled out these 3 passages, because there's, like Danny was saying, there's so much scripture that gives advice, that gives you pieces of wisdom, nuggets of wisdom on how to select your friends, because it's very, very important that you're cautious with that. Just like you're careful with the actions you do, with what you eat. Why not with the people that you're surrounding yourself with?
Ruth and Danny were saying these Bible verses are very important because just like with anything, like just in the morning, just when you choose what to wear to even like your daily things, I feel like friendships are one of those things that must be chosen. It's not like, I know we always want to be nice, and it's very hard. And just as we were talking last week about saying no, there are friendships that I feel like it's with everything. It's a good and a bad, right? And so we do have to have wisdom, and we have to seek discernment from God to know when to say no to certain things because they're your friends, right? Or when to say no, that what my friends are doing is not something that I have to do, and it's choosing your friends. It's like it's the people that you surround with tells your character. In Spanish, there's a saying that I'm trying to translate it in my brain to English. But like Danny was saying, it's like dime con quién andas y te diré quién soy.
Yeah, so tell me who you are. Tell me who you're with, and I'll tell you
who you are. Yes. Perfect. Tell me who you're with, and I'll tell you who you are, right? And it's one of those things that a lot of it at church here, even just us, like from our personal experience, we were talking about before recording. It's just like, it's so funny because I'm terrible. I will be honest with you. I'm terrible at responding. But the fact that sometimes Pastor was like, "No, I have to contact Ruth or Dania to get to you." I think it's the funniest thing ever. But that shows to you that people in church notice things, and even outside. Like my coworkers know about my friends. I'm like, they know about my recordings, like who I record with and everything, like, But it's just like the people that you surround yourself with tells a lot about your character, about who you truly are. Because of course bad influences don't attract good influences, and good influences don't attract bad influences. But we even if the bad influence want to attract the good, you're good, have to know that It's okay to say no, and you have to have that strong will to say and not fall into peer pressure. I know this is a very, very big thing when it comes to friendships, is peer pressure. Okay, you guys, don't get me peer pressured into getting married. I'm kidding.
If you guys, let me
That's
just
crazy.
share a little shout. We were at a wedding this weekend. I mean,
Yesterday.
Well, yeah, this week.
well,
When
it's
we
just,
post.
when we post, right?
We were at a week at
we were at a wedding
recently.
We were at a wedding recently, but this little girl over here always trying to jab at us about commitment, about marrying. This girl was the one that caught the bouquet. So that means her time is coming. But look at her. Now she's cheering. Now she's happy.
And let me just emphasize, we stood in the back row because we didn't want to get it. She went to the front, and there was some tall girls in front of us. And when I saw the bouquet go, it was like,
It literally went over the tall
Right
person in front of
into her
me
hand.
and right into my hands. It was funny. There's
and
a video.
She wasn't even paying attention. She was over there talking with my sister, and then she's like,
And then I
the
literally
scream-
just put my hands up because I was like, okay, it's going to hit me in the face if I don't catch it.
I love it. No, but yeah, anyways, peer pressure to get married is a good thing for you. But peer pressure in general is
no
not
worries.
good, guys.
When your time comes, we'll be there.
Oh, hush. But going back to the peer pressure, to piggyback on that, it is very important. I think in every aspect of our lives, it could be work, it could be at home, it could be in school. I know we're putting a little emphasis during this month because just go back to school. So we're talking about saying no to a lot of things, and we're saying how to choose your friends, and we're focusing on little aspects because I think right now when we're all starting, there's a lot of kids that I know around in my life that are starting middle school for the first time, that are starting high school for the first time. And so they don't know how to deal with being either new or how to build friendships because it's a bigger school. You're not in elementary or middle school where you grew up with your kid, the same kids all the time. You're now being either, if you're middle school, a sixth grader, you're seeing bigger kids than you in seventh and eighth. And
You're the little fish in the big pond.
Exactly. So now, what better advice than to be like, you know what, there's going to be things and there's going to be friends who are going to want to put a little pressure on you and to do certain things or to try out new things, which trying out new things is not bad. You just got to be wise and you got to be smart to know, hey, is this really good for me? Like, is this going to be productive? Is this going to help me out in the future? Like, you got to think about the decisions that you make.
It's like the verse that says it in Spanish. I'm pulling a Jennifer trying to translate it in my head. It's like, todo me es lícito, pero no todo me conviene. You can do whatever you want.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that everything is worth doing because, unfortunately, a lot of decisions you make are going to have long-lasting consequences. Oftentimes, it's a life-changing consequence that you're going to be dealing with for the rest of your life.
Yes.
So that's why it's important to not succumb to peer pressure.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done, I will say, but that is where when you know it's important to have that relationship first and foremost with God.
Yes.
When you have that friendship with the Lord first, He will help you and put the people that you need in your life as well. I know when I was in middle school, there was this one time there was one girl I was friends with all through 7th grade, and then that friendship ran into half of 8th grade because then we moved. Pero when there was one time we were in gym, we were walking, and she was starting to tell me things that she had done with her boyfriend. And I'm like, you shouldn't be doing that. You're not married yet, right? And she's like, what do you mean I don't have to be married? And obviously me growing up in a Christian household, I started talking to her. I'm like, this is how it should be. She's like, oh, nobody ever told me that, right?
Yeah.
And then there was another friend that joined, and she started going into detail about a bunch of stuff, right? And I'm like, that was the Lord protecting me because I kid you not, I started not being able to hear from this ear. That whole gym class, and we were just walking around the track. It was like a freebie day, right? I could not hear anything what she was saying, and I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, I'm like poking at my ear, right? And I'm like, okay, let me stand on the other side. It switched. I kid you not, and it was like a supernatural thing. It was so weird because then I stood on the other side, and then I couldn't hear from this ear, right? And I'm like, I geek now think I'm like, wow, the Lord was really protecting me because Miss Girl went into detail, right? And so in that summer where I was like, I need to start distancing myself from this girl because then she was starting to tell the other friend we had about what she should do. And then I was like, and that's when we moved schools and everything because we moved counties. I was like, thank you, Lord, because you protected me from some friendships that were not going to be good. So it's something where it's hard because you don't get to choose who goes to your school,
Yeah.
but you do choose who you communicate with, who you
Yes.
grow in
Yes.
relationship with,
That's
right?
right.
And then also ask the Lord. It's like, Lord, should I be friends with that person or not? And if you're feeling that the Lord is saying no,
Yeah.
because the prayer of take them away if they're not for me,
It's real.
It's so real.
In
It's
every
real.
aspect, not just
Yes.
dating, not whoever you're
Exactly.
interested in.
Mm-hmm. Miss
But it's
Girl,
in all types of relationships.
se adelantó. Exactly. It applies to everything with friendships and relationships. So if there's a friendship that long term it's not going to be helpful, it's got to cut off.
Yes.
Because you never know. It might be, what's it, the phrase, a lion. No, a wolf in a sheep's clothing. It's like at first they seem good and everything, and as you get to know them, you truly see their characters,
colors.
their true colors, and it's like, no. So that's why it's important. Ask the Lord for direction. Ask Him for
Yeah.
guidance, to give you wisdom and discernment to know whether or not you should continue being friends with somebody
Yeah.
or to guide you to have the friends you need to
That's
have in
right.
your life.
That's right, and like and like Ruth was saying, it applies to any relationship, even and not just for kids in school, but it
Yeah.
also applies to even us as adults.
Yeah.
Sad face, right? as us as older kids, older young adults,
Mature.
right?
That's a different generation.
So we actually aren't even starting new school, but it's like just moving on to start new jobs.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's
Coming to
the
a new
Lord,
church.
yes, coming to a new church. Sometimes the Lord moves you out of your comfort zone, like
For sure.
out of your comfort zone, so that He can give you something bigger, better, right? But also it's to help mold you, to help you grow out of those relationships that maybe you didn't even know. Because sometimes it's hard when it's your friends and it's long time friends. It's hard to say no. Like it's even you might not even notice. Like be like, oh yeah, like you might not even notice that you're falling into the incorrect. But just like Ruth said, with her experience, God physically intervened. The Holy Spirit intervened in that moment to cover her here, so she wouldn't listen to the story. But God can do in many different things, so that we, even though we don't notice, then what He's doing, we'll realize it later. Like,
For
no,
sure.
I cut this relationship off. I made you go through this hardship because those people were not gonna be good. We're not gonna be good to your life.
Yeah.
That relationship
Yeah.
needed to be broken, and God is just amazing like that.
Yeah.
That's why
For
the most
sure.
important thing that we should have is wisdom and discernment. Discernment that the Holy Spirit puts in us, because sometimes when you don't need, like I said, sometimes you don't know, but it's that gut feeling like maybe I shouldn't be
Something's
doing
not
Or
right.
the
this,
consciousness,
or,
that's the Holy Spirit too. Like when you got a little self-conscious, it's like, should I have done that? Should I do this? That's the Holy Spirit rebuking you. It's like, nah, you don't. You
Yeah.
shouldn't. And bringing that to wisdom and discernment, it's accountability. Choose your friends that hold you accountable. Like, you don't want friends who go along with you and hoorah, and they're like, yes, do it, girl. Nah, man, you don't got to do that, bro. Don't do it. Like, no, don't go with the friends that go along with your thoughts and process. Go with friends that will challenge you and counteract, like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, puts you to think, holds you accountable in the actions and the decisions that you're making, because you, believe me, maybe in this age and time, maybe in like high school, middle school, you might think that's okay and you might think that's cool, right? That they're being supportive and everything. But when you grow older, I feel like you start realizing, man, I wish a friend of mine would have told me no instead of yes. Or because, yeah, it's just accountability is very important in a friendship. Loyalty is very important in a friendship.
Yes.
Yes.
And trust, just like we trust in God, we're also trusting that He's putting friends in our lives that are going to walk with us through all stages of life, and we are able to trust fully in certain things that we usually don't.
Yeah, and sorry. Okay, and and another important thing, like Daniel was trying to touching on, is in friendships, you should be allowed to be yourself.
Yeah.
100%. You should be allowed to be yourself. You shouldn't feel like you have to change
That's me, guys.
to seek approval from others. Like, if your friends don't accept who you are, then maybe they're really not your friends. They're not your friends.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say, but sometimes those are the people that do need to be cut out from relations, because it's like, if I can't be who I truly am with you guys, you know, because I feel like some friendships do become really strong bonds that you treat friends like their family, you know. So those bonds are the ones that we want, that God has put in place for a reason. Like they say, the family that God chose for you is your family no matter what, right? But they're friends that become family along the way because God allowed it to, but also because you can be your true self. Like for example, like Danny, I was saying that, you know, sometimes she would like the friend to give her good advice, but we've built this friendship that we have based on, because we can be ourselves. I can feel comfortable to go and tell Danita, Danita, I don't think that looks right on you, and I don't think she would take it in the wrong way because she knows where it's coming from.
I'm kidding. I wouldn't.
She's like,
you said that. But same thing goes with Ruth. I feel like we are in the comfort zone where we could probably be 100% honest with each other, and there's no room, because there's always room for improvement.
Yeah,
I feel like during this our lifetime, you know, there's always roads where there's always room for improvement, and there's always room for learning. That's one of the things that I will never say. There's always room to learn. Exactly. There's always room
Honestly,
to learn.
there's been a development with our friendship since we started to now. We've had ups and downs, not actually that many downs. It's just communication, honestly, and we've learned how each of us like to communicate, and some of us are more enclosed than others.
I'm not the texting phone type.
And it's
I'm more personal.
So we know, like, I'm a texting person, but we have to learn how to communicate. So whenever I want to know that she's alive, I make sure to Chava to call her.
He's like, hello?
Yeah, because Chava likes to call. I don't. I'm a texter, but she's not a texter. So we just find communication, and that's how it is with friendships.
That's so funny, because you're a text, I'm a call, and she's in person. Because me, I'm like, I don't mind texting, right? But I'm like, let me just get this conversation over with, because I'm not to be me or being over here like I can't. So I'm like, let me just call, talk this out, because a lot of things can be lost in translation over text. Anyways,
that's right.
I wanted to add on to what both of you guys were saying is what Proverbs 27:17 says, is that as iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens another. I think that's definitely a great verse that embodies what our friendship has been.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely been an iron sharpens iron. Like you're saying, if we're not doing something right, we hold each other accountable. It's like, oh no, you probably should have done this, or it's like, or we even ask, it's like, did I do the correct with this? And then we're honest with each other. It's like, no, we probably should have done this, or you probably should have done that. And it's something where, yes, obviously over time you're able to build that trust, right? But it all goes to the basis of making sure you pick the right people that you surround yourself with. Make sure it's people that build you up, that sharpen you up, and not tear you down. Exactly, because then at the end, I guess we could say, of that friendship, you're going to be worn down. You're going to be tired. You can end up losing yourself as well if you're not careful with who you surround yourself with.
And just as that's funny remembrance, I was watching this TV show or commercial where it was like, there were older men, and there were three, and they ended up going to I think one of them, they had an injury. They were hiking and they had an injury. And two of them had an injury and one of them didn't. So one of them didn't have the injury because he didn't jump off while he was hiking, because it was like, I think they were like climbing or whatever, I don't know what it's called. But they were climbing, hiking, whatever. The thing is, they got on a trail, three of them. One of them did not want to jump down and climb, but two of them did. And the two that did got injured. And while they were at the hospital, it was so funny because they were all like, bickering, like, oh, you didn't do that. They were like, oh, yeah, we were so tough, blah, blah, blah. But come to find out, all three of them had been lifetime friends. But that one time that they had miscommunication, and it was funny because one of them didn't want to, like, you know, Hispanic, they say, they didn't want to give their brazo a torcer. They didn't want to be like the one, like, oh, my friends are going to think, my friends are going to think that I'm not cool, like, that I'm, like, you know, chickening out because I don't want to do it, right? So funny thing is, none of the three actually liked to go hiking or climbing. They only did it because they thought the others two did, and it come to find out it took one of them to finally step up and was like, you guys are crazy. I never liked this. I only went because you two were going. And it's just so funny because it was like they had built up a good friendship, good relationship, but it was like that one point they were just like, oh yeah, because we're friends, we want to do this really cool thing together. And it turns out, and then one of them was like really like, you guys are crazy. I only did this because of you guys. And then I was like, well, I thought, and then the other one was like, well, I thought you liked it, and I thought you liked it. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna join them because they like it. And then the last one was like, no way, you guys had me climbing all of these times, doing all of that. I hate working out. He was like, I hate doing this. He was like, I only did it for you two. It was just so funny.
That's the importance of assumption. Don't ever assume what the other person is talking about or thinking or feels, because look, they could have avoided that and a busted leg and both of them getting injured and avoiding all those calories in the climbing when none of them were active enough to even do it. But that's all because assuming that the other person liked it. Communication is key, and in friendship is very important.
Yes.
So Jennifer, can I assume you don't like camping then?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
we
definitely.
confirm. He's
I
like,
already
don't
told
assume,
her.
I confirm.
No, you guys.
But
Oh my gosh.
she goes because I love camping.
That's true. Actually, I went for the retiro, okay?
You went for the
It was
retiro.
retiro leader, so it was like, but the one who pushed me the more was her. I was like, okay, fine, I'll go with you.
Let's go.
I'll go with you.
Yeah.
But yes, oh my gosh, that's another
A
story for another time. Oh my gosh.
The Miss Girl, it was like 3-4 in the morning. I'm dead asleep, right? And she's like, Chabela, they're shooting outside. I'm like, Jennifer, they're hunting. Go to sleep. She's like, Chabela, are you sure?
Dude, okay, you guys. She sleeps like a rock. Oh my gosh. I yelled her name, I think like 10 or something. I don't even know how many times. And this girl would not get up. I physically had to get up and go walk to her bed. And not walk, but like stand up and like physically shake her. And I shook her the first time and she didn't wake up. And I was like, and that even freaked me out because I was like, what if she got shot or something? Like, you know, your mind goes like to different places. And then I see her belly moving.
You didn't
so
tell
I was
me
like,
that?
No, I told her that because I was like, okay, well, now that she's
She
bringing out.
said, and
I
I
was
saw
just
her
like-
belly moving.
And I was like, okay, well, she's alive, right? But then I physically had to shake her, like I was like beating her up, like,
Oh my gosh.
stop, wake up, until
So that's why my arm hurt the next day.
till she finally was like, and she didn't even like wake up. She literally just mumbled 2-3 words, and then she went back to sleep.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, she sleeps like a rock, you guys.
Well, now we know, guys, that camping is not her thing, and that she's a heavy sleeper. That's welcome to 101 RDJ.
For real.
But yeah, so
Yeah. So
bringing it back to the topic. You know,
So you see, sorry, let me add on here.
Go ahead.
So that kind of trust, like I said, that's the kind of trust that you grow with godly friendships, because who else?
Who else would I sleep with and get shot with? No one. No.
That's not where I was going.
Because who else? I would rather get shot with Jennifer and Ruth than not get shot at us.
But speaking of trust,
If y'all hear a fourth laugh, that's our
camera
fan,
boy.
our number one fan, Jesus Torres. You could find him on Facebook and Instagram. He's single, ladies. He's 18. He's a worshiper. He knows how to play piano. Don't turn it off.
Stop it.
Did you? Anyways, so I was saying, and he got papers.
I bet you can hear the laugh.
See, guys, and I want to bring that to the first book of Thessalonians.
No, but you
because this is
You
That actually works.
No,
It
because
I just took a drink.
no, look, listen.
Of Pepsi. You guys, Pepsi.
No, come on. And that brings me to the topic of where it says, encourage one another and build each other up. Just in fact as you are doing. And I have done that for Jesus. Because
Amen.
I have built character for him. And you know, and then that also brings me a little bit of First of Corinthians that we read to, because every time I'm with them, I feel like bad company corrupts good character, and my character is always corrupted when I'm with these two.
That's crazy.
Lord, please give her the wisdom to know what's good from wrong.
So good friends, important.
Yes. So, yes, bringing it back to the actual topic, how to choose your friends.
Yeah.
There is a metaphor that once I think we gave one time to the Culto de Jóvenes. Back, seriously, no, stop laughing. I'm kidding.
Thank you.
Okay. That once we were talking about, and this is one of the most important things that we try to teach the youth here at church, to choose your friends wisely, but also there was a metaphor that they used about, I think, in one of the lessons, it was like, imagine you know, as children of God, imagine us, children of God, we are the light in the world, correct? So imagine us wearing a white dress. We get invited to a dinner, we get invited to a party, or like homecoming is around the corner, right?
Yes.
All of these kids are getting invited to homecoming, all these school events, right? And as a first time, if you're new to high school, of course, when I was a freshman, I wanted to go to my first homecoming dance just for the experience, like my high school friends were going. But when back to the story, it was this girl got invited to go to a homecoming dance, I want to say. And she selected to wear a white dress because everybody else was wearing a white dress. What's wrong with that? Her dad was a miner. I mean, a miner, right? That's what you call them, right? A coaler. Miner.
Oh, yeah,
miner, whatever. Something like that. So his dad was trying to teach her that she is a child of...
Stop. Keep going.
She was a child of God, that she was light out in the darkness, but she didn't fit, like her mind wasn't capable of understanding, and sometimes even us, we're not incapable of understanding sometimes what God was trying to tell us. And that happens to me. Even like someone will come and be like, literally give me a word, and I'm just like, okay, God, now phrase it so that my understanding, because it's just our human nature. It's just our way of
Our
humanity. Yeah, that's right. Our humanity that doesn't understand what God is trying to tell us, right? But anyways, so this little girl, the dad was trying to explain to her that she's a light in the world, right? Because she's a child of God. So she is like, okay. So the dad was like, okay, get ready, put your dress on. We're gonna go, right? The dad was like, let's stop at the mines, right? She stops at the mines, right? She did not touch anything. She just walked in there, didn't touch a single thing. But when she got out, she was standing there, she got out, and she sees that her dress is all, like, covered in coal. And she goes, Dad, I'm all dirty. I can't go to the party like that. And then she didn't realize that she doesn't have to be a part of, but just the fact that she's there with those surroundings, she dirtied her dress. She dirtied her dress. And that is how influence and friendships work. Believe it or not, people don't have to physically touch you. People don't physically have to force you. People don't have to be like, hold your neck and be like, you have to do this. People don't have to point a gun to your head. But it's sometimes the influence. It's that the environment sets you up to, not sets you up for, well, yeah, technically it would be failure because you're sinning, right? So even sometimes it's just the music. It's just, and for me, trust me, music has been one of the hardest things that I battle because I love music. I love listening to music and stuff like that. And, as being a part of the Christian world, it's one of those things that influences have a strong bond when it comes to friendships. People tend to be influenced without even noticing. Like the little girl, she got her dress. She thought she was just going with her dad to pick up something, I don't know, into the mine. But she dirtied herself without even touching anything.
So when I actually heard that, when I think it was a youth night we decided on, I don't know. When I heard that, it makes you actually think of like surrounding yourself in that environment. Yeah, you're not taking part of that, or you're being part of that, or taking actions on what other people are doing, but the fact that you're just there, and if you live life like that throughout the days or the time that you're there, you're going to start seeing everything as normal. And that's when you're like, okay, well, if you see something wrong that you used to be appalled about in the beginning, with time you're going to be like, that's nothing. That's not nothing, like that won't affect me. I mean, I'm not doing it, but now I understand why. Like, now I understand why. And then that starts to change your mindset. And it
Yeah.
starts to put like a hold your morals, like your what you call it, your morals and your
principles.
yeah, they start changing and everything, your beliefs, like because you're seeing it every day. And although you're not taking part of it, I feel like I'm not saying that phrase right. Taking part of that, being part of that.
Participant.
Yeah, I'll just stick with participant. Yeah, when you're not being a participant in that, the fact that you're already seeing it and accepting it by your mind, it's only going to take you a little bit more for you to start doing it too.
And it's the same like with a rock. With one little drop of water, nothing happens, right? But after a long time of a drop, eventually that rock is going to have a dent and it can crack. So it's like you don't have to do anything, right? But you're just there. Oh, I'm just seeing.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you get a little closer,
Yeah.
and next thing you know, you're participating in something that you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So that's why it's very, very important to be careful because, like we were reading about Corinthians, bad company corrects good character.
Yeah.
You can be someone with good beliefs and everything, but if you're hanging around the wrong people, they're gonna trick you. You know, there's a lot of like, I don't know much about psychology, but I'm like, there's definitely a big part when it comes to psychology and your mental health, where it's that not your mental health, your mentality, where you can completely change your principles or your belief consistently hearing someone else that goes against it. So that's why it's so important to be careful of the people that you surround yourself with and the friends you have, and really asking the Lord to send you godly friendships.
Yes, and remember, I know that we like to teach that, you know, even for youth nights, we always tell them to bring a youth, bring a friend, because you yourself alone, you could give, and this is something that I learned through Bible classes, is that when you're trying to build relationships, and I know that we are disciples of God, right? And our job here is to go and spread the gospel, spread His word, right? But you have to be careful, very, very careful. And there's a fine line between. I feel like it's like, I want to say, like, be careful to fall in danger, because you in your heart are light, but you really, really want your friend to meet and love Jesus the same way that you do. Yeah. But you have to be very, very careful that relationship, your intent is to turn your friend, but you have to be very careful and be very cautious that relationship, instead of turning your friend, it doesn't turn you. Yeah. It doesn't turn you, because I know that there's friendships, like for me, like I've tried to evangelize, like, you know, like I share the gospel at work, I share, you know, with everybody, but I do have to draw like a fine line where it's like, okay, wait, like I'm trying to spread the word to you, but you're not. It's like you're reciprocating, right? You're not moving forward. And then that's when you sometimes have to draw a fine line. And I really do like that, at least here in church, it's like, always bring your friend to church. You know, bring your friend, like Monday youth nights, it's like, bring a friend, because sometimes it takes a village. Yeah. You're trying to create this relationship, but sometimes God is like, no. This is not a godly friendship. So it's like, it's time to put your pause, and it's okay. You can still talk to them. Yeah. You just have to be careful. You know, you don't want to cut him off like that, you know, but you just have to be careful. Like the little girl in the mine story, of your surroundings. 'Cause even though you're not part of it, sometimes you can't do it alone. And that's why there's people out there, people in church, other friends that can help you, and not just do it yourself. Because you just have to be careful with stuff like that. Yeah. Be mindful.
Exactly. And trust me, the Lord will put the people that you need in your life in the right timing as well. Maybe right now you're going through a season where you're like, well, I'm asking for the Lord, I'm waiting for a good friendship, but no one's, like, all the people that are around me are toxic or they're not helpful. What am I going to do? Trust me, there's sometimes even a waiting period when it comes to your friends. I know I experienced that back in 2020, you know. I was between... Us. Yes. I was like searching for a church, right, at the time. I was not kind of. Anyways, pero eventually I came to Manal, right? And then being here, I was like, I just saw everybody had their friend group already. I was like, I don't feel like I fit in here. I don't really get along with the. Not that I don't get along, it's just I didn't seem to click with anybody.
And look where God took you. He didn't put you in another group. He had you create a new one. I mean, like, we all created a new one, you know, right? Because we all literally clicked together.
I'm like, yes.
Yes, you actually created a new one. You didn't fit. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Of course, right? Because there's certain we've said, we have certain different, each one of
Yeah.
us is different, right? But
Exactly.
there's something that God created in all of us that makes us connect
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
We just
ways that we
click.
were like,
Exactly.
okay.
Missing puzzles.
Yeah,
Puzzle pieces.
exactly. So I know for me, definitely the friendship, us three, and then our friendip with the, we have a friend group, we call them the Vinagres. It's
Yeah.
inside joke, it's story for
Yeah.
another time. We might have them on the podcast one day.
Yeah.
Pero that in itself, I'm like, our friendship took about a year and a half of prayer
Mm-hmm.
on my part. And then with the guys, it was like another half a year, I want to say, of praying and like of just waiting, honestly. But it was definitely more than a year and a half of me praying, like, Lord, I need godly friendships. I really want godly friendships, please, because I'm like, the people I used to be friends with are off at college. I work from home now. I don't have anyone like any work friends. So I'm like, where else am I going to make friends other than church? So it was literally, I kid you not, a year and a half of praying. And then the way that our friendship happened was just like this. Next thing we know, we're like, oh yeah, we're 3 years into our friendship.
Yeah.
And we don't even, it just happened so fast.
For
Yes.
real, when I think about it, I think we just got together.
Mhm.
But no, and when we really start thinking about it, we're like, wow, we've really been through this together. Like all these changes, different
Yeah.
stages of life, the growth spiritually and everything else.
Se fue la luz.
Yeah, that we did different stages of life and we've grown through it together, and that's
Yeah.
That's
it's
the
crazy to
part.
think. And then the years go by so fast, but you know what?
Sure.
Honestly, no matter how hard things are, friends, family does that too for you. But since we're speaking about friends, that support system, that community that you build with that relationship, that bond, it's very important, and it makes you
Exactly.
into the person that you are.
Yeah.
So again, emphasis.
Choose your friends wisely.
Yes, choose your friends wisely. Your company matters. Who you surround yourself
Yes,
with
and maybe
matters.
like Ruth was saying, just a quick note. When you go into a new place, you feel like you don't fit in, right? Maybe you haven't even taken the chance to look to the person next to you, because me and Ruth were actually talking about this. Really, when we had seen each other, it was crazy. It was just meant to be, you know. It was just like we had seen I guess we were at church at the same times and everything, but we never even took the chance to look to to look to the side until, I don't know, one day it just miraculously.
I specifically remember the day I met you. It was at a leadership conference that Walter, he tricked me into going, right? He's like,
so thank you, Walter.
Thank you, Walter, honestly. He's like, mira, Ruth, vamos a tener una, sorry, it's English. He's like, we're going to have a meeting for leaders, and I'd like for you to come so you can have the training seminar. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. In my mind, I'm like, okay, I like going to leadership, trainings to continue getting better. And so I'm here chilling in second row and everything. And then they start talking about células, and I'm like, I'm not a cellular leader. And so they come to find out it was a leadership conference specifically for small group leaders, because he wanted me to be a small group leader, but didn't want to tell me.
Walter
He
always
was
trying to get us
sneaky.
to be leaderships for small groups.
And so then I was like, great. But I still, they talked about some really good points. They had like an invited speaker and everything. So I enjoyed the meeting. Point being is that we had been in the youth leader, almost in the youth leadership team, right? And so I had known pretty much everybody, right? But then there was a tal Jennifer Correas, and I was like, who is this, right? And you had like a blurry profile picture at the time. So I was like, I don't know. I've never seen this girl. And I'm looking through her profile, and I saw Camila. I'm like, why do I feel like I've seen this girl, right? Couldn't find out it was Camila, and I had a little inside joke going every Monday. It's like I always like give her like a big hug, and she'd always crack my back. And so then I'm like, why does she have a picture with Camila? Me not knowing they were even sisters. And I've been talking with Camila for months at that time. And so then we're in the break, right? And the guys introduced me. They're like, oh, yeah, this is the other girl that's in the youth leadership team. I was like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. And this girl had her mask on, so all I saw was her eyes. We go to eat, and then she took off her mask. And we ended up talking for the rest of the
Hours.
time. Yeah. We
Yes.
like all the Hovenists we were all sitting at one table during like the little lunch break. And then her and I would like forget everybody else, and her and I were just talking the entire time.
And with Danita, I had met Danita before I met before I met
Yeah.
Ruth. And we talked. We got invited
We
to
met
a
through
birthday.
a party. It was a birthday party.
A Christian
A
birthday party.
Christian birthday party. Yeah, it was. But back then, I wasn't with the Lord. I had stepped out recently, but somehow our families coincide. How you say that?
Compliment? No.
Yeah, they're
They're
kind of
similar.
they're similar, because it was like Her mom is loud and funny. My mom is loud and funny. Her mom has 5 kids. My mom has 5 kids. And so they started bonding about their children. They were saying that we were the same because we worked at the hospital. But then she was comparing me with Camila too, because Camila's grumpy when she don't get sleep, and I'm grumpy when that. Anyways, they started talking about the kids and everything. And my mom was trying to marry off all my brothers with her. And it was just like all of this. They started bonding. We saw each other, but again, I had stepped away from the Lord, so I wasn't going to church. So she always saw my mom and my sister, and I would come and visit every once in a while, but we really never talked except for there. But with her, I met her through a worship recording that I was doing at Tuban with Wilson.
Yeah.
And again, we only talked once, just like her. But we would just maybe see her once or twice in the year or so, never again. And yet somehow
We're
maybe
here
about
today.
A year or two, we're now besties. And like, you come for them, you come for me kind of thing. So it's like, it's crazy to think that that friendship that you maybe desire or praying for is literally right next to you, and maybe we just haven't taken the opportunity to even build it. Like sometimes we're so running in life, we're everywhere that we have things to do that we just, God bless you, goodbye, and that's it. We don't take the time to get to know a person and see, wow, this is what you do for me, and this is what I want to do for you. Exactly. And with them, it was like that. We met, we connected, but then the year passed, and I moved on with my life. I wasn't really interacting in church. And then, but once I really started seeing them together, which is crazy, seeing them together lead the youth, I was like, dang, that reminds me when I used to do that. I wish I could go back to that. I wish I had the heart they have to serve the Lord like I used to. So it's like seeing them made me want to come back, and somehow we all clicked again. So anyways, choose your friends wisely. Yes. It is very important. God has a plan. God has a purpose. All I can say is don't fall into the peer pressure. Remember, it's okay to say no, bringing it back to last week. Company matters. Who you surround yourself matters. And the Lord loves you.
Yeah, and just be willing to see what the Lord is going to do, because you never know when the Lord is orchestrating things and moving little pieces of the puzzle into their place. Because like she's saying, is that both of us met her individually way before we had even met each other. So it's like we meet her, life takes its course, we get our, become friends, and then we reconnect with her, and then
it was all God's plan. It was all God's plan, and look where we are today.
Exactly.
RD for J.
So godly friendships. God cares about friendships. God cares about you being surrounded by great people, because that's what Proverbs, the first verse we read, Proverbs 27:9. Oil and incense, which are high valuable things. Oil and incense bring joy to the heart, and the sweetness of a friend is better than self-counsel. It's better for you to be surrounded with great people than to always be on your own. Sometimes you do need to go through moments where you have that alone time, so that you have that connection with the Lord, right? But eventually, He's going to put the people in your place to iron sharpens iron, to make you be a better person, to be there to correct you when you need to be corrected, to give you what was the word you said?
Words of advice. Give you
hold you accountable.
Yes.
So hold you accountable and help build you up, because every day we're just striving to be better, and be wise. At the end of the day, our biggest piece of advice: be wise with your friend choices, because it has such a powerful impact in your life.
We love this one. This is a good topic.
This was definitely a good topic. I have to say, one of my favorites, I think, because we got to voice our friendship and how God has been just amazing, and how this one friendship actually brought us to everything that we're doing now, brought us to RD4J, and just how the Lord had, with the youth here, and the fact that, and what God had to do to get us to be together, but to us to share our personal experience, to share this friendship, and to share it out to those who are watching us from the other side of other side of the camera, that that God does everything in order, and God does everything with a purpose and His timing. So guys, if you guys are praying for a friendship, I'm telling you, God's always listening to each one of your words in your prayer, and that one way or another, He's gonna put you in the right path, or put the correct people in your path, so that you can also enjoy and share this great friendship. Yes. Alrighty. So I guess it's a wrap, and we just want to thank you guys for everything. Thank you for always tuning in. I know we have been We have been missing
MIA.
MIA for a little bit.
But
But we're back, and we are so excited for everything that is going to come within the next months. You know, we're getting to the best season of the year, one of our favorite seasons, right?
It's beginning to look
and-
Oh wait, no, we're talking about fall, not Christmas. My bad.
But Christmas
It's okay,
as well, both.
but Christmas
Just
is
the
my
end of the year.
favorite holiday, FYI.
But fall is our favorite season. There you go.
Right.
I skipped ahead a couple months. My bad.
She's just excited.
Yes.
But we just want to say we appreciate every one of you guys, and we just want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for everything that you do, for your time that you take out of your day to go ahead and listen to these. And we hope and we always pray that, you know, everything that we talk here, or everything that the points that we bring out are actually of, what is it called? Good? Encouragement, sorry. Encouragement to you, to your life, to your personal, mental, and spiritual. And that the Lord may guide you as well as He guided us to bring these topics up front. And just a big thank you again. You can follow us on social media. We're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram,
Spotify, Apple, we're just everywhere. So follow, like, and
Comment, share, subscribe.
Yes, already. We can't wait to see you guys next week. So, RD4J is out.
bye.